It's been a few years since Apple rolled out advanced data protection for iCloud. Are you using it? Should you be? Now, by default, iCloud data is secure while in transit. This data is stored in an encrypted format with the security keys needed to unlock that data housed on Apple's servers. Now, some particularly sensitive data types, think things like passwords or your journal data or your health data, these use end-to-end encryption as standard. In other words, this very sensitive data is encrypted using keys derived from your device and your device passcode. These are only accessible by the end user, and thus, even if there is a breach in the cloud, your data remains secure. Now, advanced data protection is an opt-in feature that provides end-to-end encryption for additional iCloud data types. Think categories like photos, reminders, and notes. Advanced data protection is inherently more secure because with it enabled, Apple no longer possesses the security keys needed to decrypt these data types either. But you still may be wondering, Jeff, what exactly is advanced data protection? Well, in this video walkthrough, I'm going to talk about what it is, how to enable it, and we'll also discuss some best practices for protecting your precious data. If you appreciate videos like this, be sure to leave me a thumbs up because that helps other people know that it's legit. And also, be sure to subscribe to 9 to 5 Mac for more. Okay, so now let's talk about advanced data protection. Advanced data protection provides end-to-end encryption for various data categories stored in iCloud. As mentioned, end-to-end encryption is not a new thing for Apple. Sensitive data like your health information, passwords, your home app information has long been subjected to end-to-end encryption under Apple's standard data protection policy. In fact, standard data protection provides end-to-end encryption for 15 different data categories. That includes things like passwords, your keychain data, your home app data, etc. Advanced data protection offers this same end-to-end encryption for an additional 10 different data types, bringing the total number of end-to-end encrypted data types to 25 with advanced data protection enabled. Now here's a look at what standard data protection includes. Standard data protection provides end-to-end encryption for passwords and keychain, health data, journal data, home data, messages in iCloud, payment information, Apple Card transactions, maps, QuickType Keyboard Learn vocabulary, Safari, screen time, Siri information, Wi-Fi passwords, W1 and H1 Bluetooth keys, and Memoji. So all of those categories under standard data protection are end-to-end encrypted. Advanced data protection provides end-to-end encryption for the following additional categories: iCloud backups, that includes device backups and messages backups, iCloud Drive, photos, notes, reminders, Safari bookmarks, Siri shortcuts, voice memos, wallet passes, and freeform data. Again, bringing the total number of end-to-end encrypted categories to 25. Now, of course, there exist categories that cannot be protected using end-to-end encryption just due to the nature of the data type. For example, iCloud Mail. Mail must communicate and interoperate with the global email system. Hence, it can't be subjected to end-to-end encryption. The same thing goes for contacts and calendars, things that are built on standards that don't support end-to-end encryption. Now, one of the most noteworthy changes that advanced data protection brings to the table is end-to-end encryption of iCloud backups. This is very notable because prior to advanced data protection, Apple stored your iCloud backups on its servers with the keys housed on Apple servers as well. Thus, Apple could access the data within those backups. And in the case of a court subpoena, for instance, they could actually go in and retrieve data via the iCloud backups stored on its servers. As you might imagine, this is particularly useful for law enforcement investigations because although iMessage on the iPhone has long been protected using end-to-end encryption under Apple's standard data protection policy, messages data stored in iCloud backups served as sort of a workaround or loophole. With advanced data protection enabled, even messages data stored within iCloud backups are inaccessible by Apple because they no longer have the keys necessary to decrypt those iCloud backups. Now, I'm not saying this to cause alarm or to scare you or anything like that, but with advanced data protection enabled, Apple no longer has access to the decryption keys necessary to access things like your photos or your notes or reminders, etc. Hence, if for some reason you lose access to your account, only you, the end user, is able to recover this data using your device passcode or password, a recovery contact, or a recovery key. So yes, along with setting up at least one trusted recovery contact, it's super important that you also remember your 28-character recovery key as well. I recommend using something like a hardware physical wallet so that it's not easily lost or damaged. Now, before enabling advanced data protection, you'll be prompted to remove any devices from your iCloud account that are running outdated software. For iOS, that's anything below iOS 16.2, and for macOS, that's anything below macOS 13.1. With advanced data protection enabled for your iCloud account, you will not be able to sign in to your account using your Apple ID on devices running outdated software. You'll need to update the software on these devices first, or disable advanced data protection. So yes, if you have an older device that can't be updated to iOS 16.2, for instance, then that device has to be logged out of your iCloud account before you can enable advanced data protection. And once advanced data protection is enabled, it is enabled for all devices linked to your iCloud account. So let's talk about prerequisites to using advanced data protection. Now, you should have this already enabled, but just in case, your Apple ID does require two-factor authentication enabled to use advanced data protection. But even if you're not using it, you definitely want to be using two-factor authentication. The second thing, yes, you have to have a passcode or password set up for your device. The next requirement, you should be running the latest software version across all of your devices. That means for iOS, at least iOS 16.2 or above. Hopefully you're running iOS 18 already, but just in case, yes, you need to update. And that includes all the other devices linked to your iCloud account. So that includes tvOS with the Apple TV, that includes iPadOS for iPads, watchOS for the Apple Watch, the HomePod software, etc. Even Windows computers that are running iCloud. The next prerequisite is that you must have either a recovery key or a recovery contact set up and established. The advanced data protection setup will prompt you to do this just in case you haven't already. I recommend doing both. And if you just got a new iOS device, there is a threshold of time that must elapse before you're able to set up and enable advanced data protection using that device. Now you can use any other iOS, iPadOS, or Mac connected to your iCloud account to set this up. You just can't enable advanced data protection on all your devices from a brand new device. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about adding a recovery contact. So open up Settings, then go to your user, and then tap on iCloud. From there, you just want to scroll all the way down until you see Advanced Data Protection. It's currently set to off. So we're just going to tap Advanced Data Protection, and you open up this section. It's going to explain what Advanced Data Protection is. We've already gone over that. You see all the different data types it adds. But if we scroll down, you're going to see where it says Account Recovery. So tap that where it says Setup, and now you can add a recovery contact or a recovery key. So right now we'll add a recovery contact, which can help you generate a code so that you can get your data back in case you lose access to your account. So tap Add Recovery Contact. It's going to verify with Face ID, and now it'll ask you to select your recovery contact. If you have family sharing enabled, those will be presented. Those family members will be presented there. You can also choose someone else if you wish to, but in this case, I'm going to choose Ducky Benjamin and then tap on Next. Now it's going to ask you to send a message to that contact to let them know that they've been added as a recovery contact. So Apple provides a canned message here that you can send, or you can edit that message if you want to, but we'll just send it as is. And the recipient can choose to accept. You're adding them as a recovery contact, and you'll actually get a notification to let you know once they accept. Just like that. And remember, you can add more than one recovery contact. Now let's talk about adding a recovery key. So we're going to go to Settings, your user, iCloud, scroll down to Advanced Data Protection, tap it, and then scroll down here and select Account Recovery. We already added the recovery contact. Now it's time to add the recovery key. So you just tap where it says Recovery Key, This is a 28-character code that you can keep in a safe place. So you want to write this code down, preferably on a hardware wallet if you have access to that, where you can etch it into a piece of metal or something like that for safekeeping. But you can also write it down, print it out, whatever the case may be. So just tap on turn on and then tap use recovery key. And it will create this unique recovery key. Make sure you don't share that with anyone else. But before that, it's going to ask you to put in your iPhone's passcode. So we'll do that now. And then tap done. And then it will present you with the recovery key. So again, you want to print a copy or write it down and keep it in a safe place. Like I said earlier, you could use a hardware wallet where you etch in the code on a piece of metal for safekeeping. But again, it's going to be up to you. Just make sure you don't lose this code in case you ever need to use it to recover your account. Once you write down your recovery key, tap continue, and then you'll be asked to verify that key to make sure you wrote it down properly. So you enter the recovery key to verify. In this case, since I'm just showing you how to do it, I'm just going to paste it back in. But when you do it, make sure you write it down first and then type it in so that you have it verified. That's very important. All right, so just tap next. And there we go. So the recovery key has been verified, and it'll take you to the sign in and security page with the recovery methods showcasing both your contacts and your recovery key. If you ever want to get back to the screen, it's actually really easy to do so. All you do is open up settings, go to your account, and then tap sign in and security. And then scroll down, you'll see where it says recovery methods. There's your contacts, there's your key. Tap your key. And here, it's not going to show you your key because you should have wrote it down. But here you can either remove that recovery key or create a new recovery key if you choose to do so. So now it's time to enable advanced data protection. So go back to settings, go to your account, go to iCloud, scroll down, select advanced data protection. And remember, we already set up our recovery methods, both our contact and our recovery key. So now it's just a matter of turning on advanced data protection. So we just tap turn on advanced data protection. And now it's going to tell you, you will be responsible for data recovery. Make sure you have one of your recovery methods. I recommend setting up both. You tap review recovery methods. It's going to confirm your recovery contact, as you can see there. So you can see Ducky Benjamin is my contact. Tap continue. And then it wants you to verify your recovery key before it turns on advanced data protection. So you just basically type that back in from where you wrote it down. In this case, I just pasted it in for this demo, and then tap next. So that verifies your recovery key. Now put in your iPhone passcode, tap done, and then advanced data protection will be enabled. There we go. So keep your recovery methods up to date. Make sure you have that recovery key saved somewhere safely. All right, tap done, and you can see advanced data protection is enabled. So all those additional data types are now end-to-end encrypted. So the keys are no longer stored on Apple servers. But if you ever turn off advanced data protection, it'll copy the decryption key back to Apple servers. Now, since Apple no longer has the keys for those data types with advanced data protection enabled, how do you go about accessing that iCloud data from the web? Well, let me show you. So if you go back into your iCloud settings and scroll back down, you'll see access iCloud data on the web. So if you turn that on, your trusted device will be used to give Apple access to display your data each time you sign in. So we're going to go ahead and turn that on just to show you what it's like and give you an idea of what to expect. All right. So now access your iCloud data on the web. You'll need to use your trusted device to allow iCloud.com to display your data every time you sign in, because again, the keys are no longer stored on Apple servers. So we'll select access iCloud data on the web, tap allow access, and there you go. access iCloud data is enabled. So now when you go out to iCloud.com, for instance, and you try to open up, for instance, Reminders, which is now end-to-end encrypted. Let me show you what happens here. So I click on Reminders, it's going to say getting access. Your device is giving iCloud.com temporary access to display reminders. So you can see there's your temporary access that's been granted. And now you can access your reminders on iCloud.com. From a user perspective, advanced data protection isn't super complicated. It's simply a way to add end-to-end encryption across more iCloud data types, bringing the total number of end-to-end encrypted data types to 25. If you're looking for a way to increase the security of the data stored in your iCloud account, this is a great way to do so. Just remember that you take on additional responsibility for your data since Apple no longer houses the decryption keys for those data types on their servers. For many people, that's a small price to pay for the added security that advanced data protection brings to the table. What do you all think? Are you using advanced data protection? Why or why not? Let me know down below in the comments section. If you appreciated this video, again, leave a thumbs up. That always helps, lets other people know this video is legit, and also subscribe for more videos like this. Speaking of videos like this, I think you might enjoy these. This is Jeff with 9to5Mac.